Hello, the following videos will help clarify standards-based grading. Standards, or course objectives or learning outcomes, are what we've established in the course syllabus. Here you can see in this course we have 6 course objectives or standards. Each of the learning outcomes has been given a particular weight based on the importance of your learning that particular standard in this course. Each project will assess each one of the learning outcomes. However, the various projects, the 3 introductory projects and the final project, will be weighted, meaning that the assessment of the learning outcome for the introductory activities is worth less to your overall grade than that final assessment during the final project. Each outcome will be assessed on a scale from 0 to 4, and the overall weighting calculations using the project weights as well as the learning outcome weights will determine your overall progress and your final course grade. Let's use Excel to help clarify what I mean by all these various weights. What I've got here is, in the first column, your projects, each assignment for the various projects, and then the learning outcomes for the overall course, but when they are assessed within each assignment. In some instances, a learning outcome may only be assessed once during a given project. Here, for example, in the product archaeology project, RTE is only assessed once. What you'll then do is take the total amount, sum, of those scores for a given learning outcome within a project. Here we can use our design build for product archaeology. We had 2 assessments of that for this project. The sum is 6, and you'll just simply take an average to determine what your design build score is for the product archaeology project. You'll do this for all of the learning outcomes except for professional behaviors, teamwork, and punctuality. These scores will be averaged over the course of the entire semester to determine what % of those professional behaviors you have achieved. If you sum up your various learning outcomes and take the averages for each one of the learning outcomes for each project, we can then take those averages and determine what our overall course outcome score is. Here I've clicked on this box and we can look at the equation that I've written to determine what my overall course score is for design build. And what we see here is that I've multiplied the averages for each of the projects by the project weights. So just quickly we'll make a check. The C12 cell, if I go to C12, was the average score for the product archaeology. C19 was for product dissection, and so on and so forth. And so for each one of the introductory activities, we're multiplying those by 0.15 because they're each worth 15%. Then my average score for my final project is multiplied by 0.55 because that's worth 55%. And so you can do that for each one of your learning outcomes. Again, teamwork and punctuality are a little different. You just simply take an average, as you can see from the equation up here, of all of the teamworking scores throughout the entire semester, and same thing for punctuality, all of your assessments of punctuality. Then we need to take into account the weightings for each one of the learning outcomes. And so what I've done now in this equation here is to take that overall course score for each one of the learning outcomes. C40, for example, is my overall score for design build. And design build had a 20% weighting, so I'm multiplying that by 0.2. And so if we go down the equation here, you can see that I've added in the weights for each one of the learning outcomes. And again, just to note the teamwork and punctuality, which is a little different, each one of those I've multiplied by 0.05 because they are both worth 5% of the professional behaviors grade. This will determine what our final grade is, and we can then go back to the syllabus to determine what our score is. Now, 2.564 falls within the range of the 2.34 to 2.66, giving me a course score of B. What I've done in the Excel spreadsheet here is added in a little more complicated equation where it will automate my actual grade for the class. And so you can see it's an if-and sort of statement. If this final course score that I've calculated is greater than 3.66, it gives me that. If it's greater than 3.33, it gives me this. And so it automates that we do have a B for this particular student.